Hi everyone, and welcome back for part 2 of the investment presentation tool user interface. In part 1, we ran through the user interface, how to capture all the information required, and how to build a portfolio. In part 2, we will preview a proposal, we will generate a proposal, and if you have any bugs, how you can report them to us. So let's go ahead and preview a proposal. And we land on page 1 of the proposal. What you'll see is at the top, there is first a back to input page. Now we'll have to come back to this to go ahead and generate the proposal. But what you will notice is all the details that you have captured being right at the top of the first page of this proposal. What type of product it is, what type of proposal it is, the client's details, details on the proposed solution, your details, the state investment period, and so on. You'll also note here that there is an alert that the current solution differs to that of the risk profile questionnaire, and is to make your client aware of that. You must please still make your client aware as to why there's this difference. Next, we move on to look at the client's current situation, and as we captured in part 1, we captured the Momentum Bond Fund of 50% and the Investec Value Fund of 50%. We then look at its asset allocation, its historical returns over time, and the maximum drawdown numbers. Next, we move on to a market overview, where we briefly cover the United States, Europe and the United Kingdom, China, and South Africa. We then take a look at the asset class winners and losers, and we look at this in two forms. Firstly, we look at returns. So, the best or the winning asset class would have the best returns, and vice versa for the worst performing asset class or the loser. We then look at volatility, and this is inverse. The winning asset class would have the lowest volatility, and the losing asset class would have the highest amount of volatility. We then move on to our portfolio construction process. We run through what we follow, how we put the portfolios together, and the due diligence points that we always look to ask managers when we meet with them. We then get to the comparative portion of the proposal, and we'll always look at this in terms of the proposed solution, first that of the current solution, and that of the peer benchmark that was selected based on the proposed solution. Now I must make note that if this solution or the current solution is a moderate conservative solution, then you would be comparing a moderate conservative solution to our moderate aggressive solution and the high equity sector being the peer benchmark for the moderate aggressive solution. We then take a look at the diversification or holding see-through, and the reason we have this is to clearly illustrate what funds we are holding, and if we are holding a fund of fund, we would then break down the underlying holdings of that fund of fund. We then take a look at the two portfolios' asset allocations, and then we move on to the annualized return numbers. Here we'll look at a year-to-date number, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month numbers, and then all the way through to an inception number. Now these graphs are all dynamic, and thus your year-to-date numbers would change based on your ending date, and your 1 month returns would then 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and so on, would all change based on the time period you have selected. We then look at the historical return of the 3 portfolios, and then the maximum drawdowns of those 3 portfolios as well. Lastly, we move on to the risk and return numbers of that stated time frame, and we focus on the standard deviation, maximum drawdowns, the down capture and up capture ratios, up period percent, and the Sortino ratios. We then look at the portfolio analysis and commentary, and as Rob described in the introductory video, all these portfolio analysis and commentary is automated, so you don't have to do anything. And on the very last page, we have a few definitions here on the various metrics that we use, just to help inform your client and give them a bit more breadth as to what exactly we are focusing on. So let's run back to the top of the proposal, and we will go back to the input page so that we can now generate the proposal, because we are actually happy with this proposal. So we will go ahead and generate the proposal. Now you'll notice that it will start publishing, and what it'll do is it will open up the proposal so that you could have another look at it, just to ensure that you are happy with everything that you have captured and the layout. And it'll, on top of that, save a copy to your desktop and create a folder at the same time. So let's go and look at that. We will then find out where is this folder. Here it is, Client Investment Proposals. And what you'll notice is that it has created a folder and it has saved that PDF for you. If we go ahead and generate this proposal again, I'd like to just do this just to iterate or illustrate what actually happens once we have generated a second proposal. And you'll notice at the top, you'll see here that it is labeled, the client's details, the date, and you'll see a number 2 right at the top. So if we close this, you'll see that there is another iteration of the proposal that has been saved for you. Lastly, if you find any bugs or any issues, we need to know so that we can help get rid of them, so we can just improve your experience. It's as simple as clicking on the bug report. It'll open up your Outlook or your mail browser that you use, and then you can type in the details as to what the problem is, and it'll obviously include your details based on your default account within Outlook. Thank you so much for joining me. I trust that this tool is going to help your business and professionalize your business.